final Flash Talk, welcome Mariana Iskander, CEO of Harambee Youth Employment Accelerator.
If you can just get more skills, you'll have a leg up on opportunity. This familiar promise is not holding true for a ballooning generation of young Africans. The world over, there's a growing consensus that today's education is not delivering for tomorrow's jobs. And maybe, just maybe, all of our focus and funding on getting more and more skills for young people is misplaced. Let's talk about nail polish, weightlifting, and why you can't get a dental check on a cruise ship. These were the things that actually mattered for young people in our network at Harambee Youth Employment Accelerator to land their first job and financial security. I live in Johannesburg, a city with a shortage of 2,000 butchers. It's a well-paying job that allows a young person to enter a career in the trades and even earn some money on the side in their communities. The skills program for becoming a butcher is 9 months of classroom training and a math test about the place value of decimals. As Harambee, we decided to shadow experienced butchers and try to learn what it really takes to do that job. Guess what we learned? You have to be able to stand in a really cold room for many hours. You have to work without talking, and you have to get rid of your nail polish. We designed a matching system that could test for those things in about a day and felt like that was a better answer than waiting for 9 months to discover that a young person might struggle with the cold, struggle with not talking at work, or struggle without their gelish. Now, you might ask what weightlifting has to do with being a shift supervisor in an underground mine. These technical jobs often require applicants to lift weights as part of a strength test. We got involved as Harambee when we discovered that young women were passing every other part of the hiring process except this one thing. Our answer to more skills was a strength and conditioning boot camp that taught them how to lift weights and pass that part of the test. Within 6 weeks, we had 10x'd the pass rate for young women into these jobs and taken an opportunity to educate an industry about how to maybe measure differently for the things that they were looking for. I'm sure none of you have had a dental check on a cruise ship. That's because cruise ships work really hard to avoid any medical procedures on board. And that goes for their hiring processes as well. A few years ago, we were approached by our partners in government to ask how we could make a plan for young people that lived in isolated townships that are, frankly, too far away to afford any form of transport to get to a job. We decided not to accept geography as a limitation, and we pathwayed them onto cruise ships where the commute is the job. Now, what was the hardest part about this? It wasn't teaching them how to swim or helping them apply for a passport. It was fighting with the ship's medical doctor to not exclude them because they didn't pass the dental check, the result of poor nutrition and something that was easily fixable. So how do we scale up this smart matching to make a meaningful dent in tackling youth unemployment? We've started by mapping it across 150,000 jobs with the intent of making these micro barriers visible and solvable. We have an employability map that has grown 8 years and 250 million data points later across 500 employers and self-employers and a growing network of 700,000 young people, all trying to find common ways to find each other. Now that we've mapped it, we're platforming it creating a national architecture working with government and the private sector in a way that's laser focused on breaking barriers, on building pathways that let more people in than keep them out, and on a way of working that keeps us falling in love with the problem and not staying in love with our solutions. So we need your help. Inclusion is not just about income and opportunity. It's also about identity and language. Every day at Harambee, we interact with thousands of young people, online, on the phone, and in person. And we measure their ability, their energy, and their potential. Yet, what do the Sustainable Development Goals, policy papers, and media headlines call this group of young people? NEETs. It's a non-word that stands for not in employment, education, or training. We define them by what they can't access and what they can't do. I think we can do better than that. So my ask today is that we think about a better word, a word that can describe these young people for who they are and what they can do. I've got some ideas, but I hope you'll find me later today to share some of yours, because we need to find a way to represent these young people for what they can contribute, not just to the future of the African continent, but to the entire world. Thank you.